Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Mad Capper, and this is another video on Raid Shadow Legends. Today we are doing I built them, so you don't have to. It's been a little while, but this was a Twitch pick. So what happens is if we hit a level 5 hype train on Twitch, and on March 4th we did, I build out a champion, usually during CVC to be efficient, and then we feature him on the channel. And this was a unique one because it's not traditionally one of my favorite champions, but it's one that actually was good in that it kind of opened up my eyes in the amount of damage and usability that you might be able to find in this champion. However, I do want to give credit where credit is due. It was, I believe, a Cypher Tyrant that in Twitch that had said, hey, look, this is where I've seen him used before. And I kind of had heard that, but it was a good reminder at the time of polling to say, hey, let's do this. And I also want to give credit where the original YouTube video that I could find of this comp using Torturehelm, who is our feature for this video, in a particular comp. And so Sly YT, unfortunately Sly no longer looks like he's doing YouTube content. He had moved over to Ragnarok from Raid Shadow Legends at about 1,000 subs, and he hasn't done anything in 6 months. So unfortunately, I'm giving him the credit where the credit's due, but he seems to be no longer a part of this community or the YouTube community. Nonetheless, you know, I don't want to steal other people's thunder, but I want to show you my Torturehelm and how I used him in Dragon 20 to be able to solo Dragon 20 content while farming food. So without further ado, let's get into it with Torturehelm. Alright everybody, so this is where Torturehelm is best used. As I mentioned in the intro, not an original idea, but as we're doing kind of a focus on Torturehelm, this is where you're probably going to want to use them as solo farmer in Dragon 20. If you don't have one of the other solo farmers, I absolutely highly recommend doing this because your efficiency quotient goes through the roof. Overnight farming, CVC farming, these sort of things. Limited energy farming especially. If you have 10,000 energy, you're going to want to speed run. But if you have 2,000 energy and you have the ability to level up food at the same time as gaining dragon drops, this makes perfect sense. And he does it in a reasonable amount of time. So you can see here from what I have him, I'll show you the stats. And you'll be able to see them over on the right hand side. So 75,000 health, just shy of 2,000 attack, 2640 defense, speed at 225, crit rate 85. He has strong affinity, so you do not need to go to 100%. 85 works fine. 220 crit damage, and I had this at 140 and it still worked. It was just about 40 seconds to a minute slower, so it wasn't a huge deal. He was still hitting really hard with his A2, by the way. I didn't see really much difference in damage when he had higher crit damage, which I found interesting. It seemed negligible, but his A1 was considerably higher with this. You can see there, like, he's hitting 16, 20k. He definitely wasn't hitting that with the lower crit, but his A3 that's hitting for like 130 to 140, and we'll see it here maybe the next hit. No, it's one after that. So 13.7 on his A1. There, 143. That's not a ton higher than when he only had 140 crit damage, which I found interesting. I found really interesting, and maybe my theory is that the bonus damage is applied after crit damage, so it's doing whatever he normally would do with that, adding the crit and then adding the bonus damage afterwards, instead of taking that total with crit damage and adding the damage increase to it, which I don't know. Either way is really just depends on what you want to do, I guess. The other cool thing is, as Horden does put up buffs, so his A1 can, as you can see, steal the buffs, which helps you. That attack up is good against his A1. So anyway, there's the stats. The other big thing is resistance, and that's just to resist. There's a stun. Tyrell has a stun. There's the poisons here. There's the attack down, and I don't think, based on what I've seen, that it's 100% imperative that he resists everything, but I think it just makes a more consistent, cleaner run that's a little bit faster. So there's his ability. Like I said, he's in lifesteal. We take a look at his masteries. War Master proc is the important thing. as well as this right here, which is the increased speed for every dead ally up to 18, and this one here is the increased damage for every dead ally up to 10, which really is only 2 allies because it's 5% per. I don't know why they cap it at 10. That seems silly. You only get a maximum of 4 allies, so why not just let them get all the damage? Give them all the damage. Now, where I would be curious to use him, and I didn't do it in a video because I think it's like a death curse on videos, but I'd be curious about him in Hydra, because yes, 2 turns he's gonna hit like a swaddled child, but that one hit's gonna hit really hard, and those single targets, depending on the rotation and what you have going. You have a couple of dead stumps, some headless hydras, and he hits with that A2. Maybe you put him in some reflect gear and give someone else the life. Plus, a bad, the bad run. There it is, 3 minutes 50 seconds. I think it's pretty respectable for a solo farmer, a free to play friendly, very low gear requirements. Anyway, so yeah, I'm curious about him in Hydra. I'm gonna keep him in this gear. We might test him out in Hydra. I don't know if I'll probably put him in reflex gear. Just to get him more turns on that harder hit. But I think it might be interesting. Faction Wars, definitely. I mean, you've got a guy that can hit that hard. Why not? Even when there's no dead allies, which of course you hope you don't have in Faction Wars, and for most of Hydra you don't want either. I think it's still a powerful enough damage dealing ability that it's well worth doing, especially if you can get him in reflex gear, which would give you more opportunity. So, but for this solo farming, it is lifesteal gear, and I love the fact that it's lifesteal gear, because chances are, with unkillable comps and all the new comps coming out in Clan Boss, there's an eventuality where you're going to have a lot of really good lifesteal gear that you feel like you shouldn't throw away, but you're not using. Well, here's a chance to use them. With the run over, let's take a look at his... we've already looked at his masteries. We see his skill set here. Let's just talk about skills, and then we'll go into my final thoughts on him. Skills, he's got an aura which has a 33 ally percent in dungeons, HP. Amazing aura. Top tier aura for an epic champion. That's actually kind of shocking, but absolutely love that. His unkillable passive is what makes things work. Even when he's getting hit by the dragon, he revives the champion with 50% HP. The problem with this... we'll talk about later. Gotcha. Bloodlust, which is attacks one enemy, damages proportional to this champion's max HP, and increases according to the number of dead allies. From what I've been able to tell, this is 40%. Someone with math, I'll definitely not tell you to call Senti, because he keeps telling me to stop telling you to do that, so definitely don't call Senti. But someone who is really good at the statistical analysis of this game can tell you what that number is. It feels like it's 40%, and it feels like it's calculated before crit and tacked on at the end, as opposed to calculated after the crit total. So if he does 100k, it doesn't feel like it's just 140 flat through. It feels like it's tacked after, so the crit damage doesn't take into account the extra damage, if that makes sense. So if your crit damage, the crit damage on the hit is 30,000, it doesn't feel like when you get the extra bonus, you're getting the crits calculating on that extra bonus. Maybe I could be wrong, but it just felt like that when I was testing them, that it feels like that you do the 100k, you get your crit damage for another 20k, or you do 100k total with the crit damage, and then the bonus 40 or the bonus 40% is on the base. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's try that again. So, attacks one enemy, damage is proportional to this champion's max HP, and increases according to the number of dead allies. What it feels like is this is about a 40%, but it's calculated after as opposed to before crit damage. The difference is if you get 100% total damage and you get 40%, you get 140. But if you were, say, hitting whatever your base was before crit damage and you added that 40% to that, it means your crit damage would also add, which means it would be, say, 150k damage total with the dead allies. And it feels like it's the former, not the latter. Someone who is smarter at math could tell you. Senti told me to stop telling you to call him, so definitely don't call HG Senti. Definitely don't call him about this, but someone who's good at math within the scope of Raid Shadow Legends could probably let you know what the damage bonus is for dead allies. His A1 reads really well. Attacks one enemy, has a 30% bookable to 50% chance of stealing one random buff from the target. Damage is proportional to attack and defense. Love the 50% chance of stealing a random buff. Think it's a great... That's always a great A1. It's 50% chance, so it's a coin flip. It's on an A1. Still very good. His A1 hits kind of weak. Why does it hit kind of weak? Attack and defense? Why do you ruin this? This champ actually is nearly really good. He is really good, but he could have been so much better if this was just HP. So my final thoughts. Is he's actually better than I thought he was. I think he's more usable than I thought he was. I would build him for Faction Wars. I will if I get him on my free-to-play again. I used my first one for Krisk. I think I underestimated him. I think putting him in reflex gear, if you're not using him for solo farming like this, putting him in reflex gear would be very strong. Generally speaking, you don't want your allies to die, so there's a little bit... That makes Bloodlust a little bit weak, but for level 20 dragon farming, it makes it very strong, and it makes him a very strong champion with very low gear requirements. I have two problems, and the first one is his passive, and the reason why I have a problem, it's a problem with every single one of these Revive on Death champions, whether it's a passive or whether it's a spell. They revive with 0 turn meter, and so chances are the other team has at least one person who is above 0 turn meter. The only person that isn't above 0 turn meter is the one that just killed you. So 3 of the 4 champions, or 4 of the 5 champions, depending on where you're playing, are just going to get around to killing him again. So it's really a revive to be annoyed. And he is featured on the enemy side in a lot of Faction Wars. So we all know this. The thing revives, it's just a pain in the ass that ruins your your turn order on your spells. That's all he's there for. He's not hard. You still kill him again. He still goes away. But from an NPC side, it's annoying. From a player side, it's even more annoying because it's a champion who revived just to die again. So it would be nice if this was 50% HP and 50% turn meter to give him at least give him a shooting chance to get back and revenge on the person that killed him. Bloodlust is an amazing ability. You don't need to talk about it. Why is this attack and defense? It should be HP. Why is this a thing? Why hasn't it been fixed? Why hasn't it been looked at? Every single champion that has an incorrect designation, like HP here versus not HP here, should be changed. Either don't make him an HP epic champion, because he's not HP based. If pillage is attack and defense, you can make him anything. You can make him an attack champion, a defense champion. It doesn't matter. It's ridiculous. It's irrelevant, and it's silly that you've got 2 different types. Especially when his aura is HP based and his A2 is HP based. Just make this HP based. And based on what other epic nukers can do for damage, I'd really like... Now this steals buffs, so it's probably not going to be like Alika's or Phoenix's great A1 damage. It only attacks once. So I would say, yeah, give it, if it can hit for 20 to 25,000, where currently it's hitting 10 to 15 on those champions, so something proportional to that, I think that would balance him out quite well. If you give him that 50% turn meter and the pillage a little bit better. So I say this is a great champion if you're free to play, if you're newer, you get this champion, you want to use him for dragon farming, 100%. Faction Wars, pretty strong. He does have some issues. Overall, he's a single target nuker. With only one ability that nukes, the other one hits very weak. And the fact that Bloodlust needs your allies to be dead kind of negates some of the coolness of that ability. But overall, I think he's a build champion. He's not a strong build, but he's a build, and he's someone that you can probably use. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments down below. Did you know about Torturehelm? Would you like to use him? What do you think? Yeah, let me know. But until then, I appreciate you watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Stay safe, be kind. And as always, we'll see you in the next video.